home and just like go into the kitchen and like lie down on the floor. Be asleep.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. I hated night shift. That's awful. He did it for a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He still works nights and usually in the 50-hour range.
I slept on the ground at Disneyland because I was bored. I'm not even joking. I was like, you guys do your thing. I want to nap, but I don't want to walk all the way to the hotel. I look like a homeless man.
That's
weird. Remember that?
I remember.
She's like, yes, I do.
Didn't I used to fall asleep in your ears?
Oh yeah, you would just lay down and fall asleep.
Oh yeah,
in
it
random
is.
places. Like, oh look,
And
there
also
she is.
I was like sitting up.
Danielle's not collecting. It's okay.
Well, she was like, this tall. She'd be sitting at the table, and her
Doing
her forehead would be against this, and she's just out.
Out.
Like, okay.
Also on our
That's an art. That's an art.
Especially when you have two older loud siblings and then a baby.
when I was like
probably
little,
wishing
we
we
had
had
a bigger rail on the bunk bed so I didn't like fall off the bunk bed. And then there's like pictures of me just like leaning up against it.
That was
and
your
sleeping.
lower bed, though. You weren't
Really?
old enough to be in a bunk yet.
I-
That was in your
Then
low
we
one,
have
just so you
that
didn't
rail
roll out of your
now.
bed. Yeah.
But I was just like sleeping against the rail.
She would lean
I was
against
just,
the
like,
rail like
sitting
this
up.
and go.
And it's just what? I'm like,
It's an art.
This is a really
You're
good
in
eat.
bed
though.
already.
I don't think I've had this
Standing
one.
up too.
Which one is it?
The chicken,
No joke.
onion, minced garlic,
It's an art.
cilantro.
There are days
Yeah, that's
I
the one
could do
Jeremiah
that.
likes.
What's it called?
Tandoori.
It's really good.
Yep. I got it with the cream sauce.
that one reminds me of the Oscar.
I think the cream sauce is a better base for all those spices.
Jalapeno pineapple.
Alrighty. Yeah, the jalapeno pineapple's pretty good too, right?
That's like our
You can
favorite
actually get that on a spicy barbecue sauce instead of, but I like it with the pink, they call it pink sauce. It's just a 50-50 of the tomato and the cream sauce.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Alrighty. So, welcome to all of our many parents. For the record, anyone who's watching late, you guys missed out on delicious pizza. That's all we're talking about.
I'll eat your share.
We're so generous, Shane.
So you should be here next time. That's all. Yeah. So today it's a chance for you guys to gab, which is great. We already did that. Fantastic. But also just to catch you guys up on what's coming up in the future. Let you guys ask questions. Tell us things. All that. So, of course, my slides aren't working. Arrgh.
Did you ever find your remote?
Oh yeah, I lose it frequently. It's never too far away. Here we go. Here's our upcoming things to talk about. We're going to talk about the rest of the year calendar and a brief 10-mile overview, and then talk about the future of Liberate, talk about topic nights coming up in March, Girls Nerd Night coming up in May, I want to say. I got it on here somewhere. And then summer camp. Summer camp is out in front of us. Oh, I didn't get it on the slide. I'll go ahead and say it. I have the dates for high school summer camp. Because Danielle, you're
Yeah,
That
8th
would be
grade.
nice to know.
I'm gonna be good.
And then Caleb, are you 8th or 7th this year?
7th.
7th, okay. Cool. So for all of our 8th graders, you are invited to go to high school summer camp.
I'm excited.
You should be. It's amazing.
I am really excited.
Okay, I wasn't sure. That kind of sounded like sarcasm.
That was a whole ordeal because the students accidentally scheduled it for the same dates as their family trip.
Oh. Well, it was interesting. I scheduled my summer camp on the church calendar, and then when I contacted Jacob, I found out that he scheduled family camp during summer camp.
Oh no.
I was
Oh,
like-
after you had
After I'd already scheduled,
Okay.
and mine was on the calendar. His is still not on the calendar.
Well, I was talking to Adriana the other day, and she's like, "Yeah, we still don't know what's happening with family camp." So I don't know.
So I moved middle school summer camp. Every year, Elevate usually has 2, sometimes even 3 middle school camps based on response. And so I just picked the later date. So our camp is now, I think, week 3 of July. We'll get there in a second. But high school camp is actually in June,
Oh wow. That's
which I think is cool. Because I think one of the best things about summer camp, especially for high school, is to get new kids, the freshmen, plugged in and get them to know everybody. It's amazing for that. And the sooner you can do it
Yeah,
in
do it
summer,
immediately.
the more of summer you get where you know everybody.
So what are the exact
So
dates?
June 13th through 16th is high school summer camp.
Okay.
June 13th through 16th. And that is going to be $200-ish. They don't know if it's going to be higher or lower yet. They're still adding up costs. July is going to be ours. So, okay, we'll go through these in order real quick. So here's our calendar for the year. and I will print off a grand total of 2 of these at the end, so you guys can all have one. So you can stick this on your fridge. So there you go. There's our year at a glance. That is what we're planning on. And if you would like to see something else, if you would like to see something added, if you'd like to see something adjusted, let us know. We want to take as much input from you guys as we can. And if you hear another parent in passing in conversation say, why do they do this? Or couldn't they do that? Yes. Yes, we could. You should tell us. Please, please do. We love feedback. We love getting to hear what doesn't work so that we can make changes. We love getting to hear what you think could work even better. Krista, do you have feedback?
Yes.
What is your feedback?
You're gonna make me cry because that's just so far. That seems close. You're gonna make me cry.
Because it's far away? The Christmas party is going to make you cry.
Wow.
I'm confused now. Christmas is too far away? Is what the complaint is? Oh, Christmas is too near?
You're making it seem closer than it
It's
actually
only
is.
February right now. You have
You
most of a year to get there.
The formal was awesome.
The formal
okay.
was interesting.
Yeah, that was
And
cool.
also awesome.
I was kind of sad.
When is the
Wait, were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you were. You were in the lobby
He was
almost
at
the
the
whole time.
door.
That's right. That's
when
right.
is the switch of incoming 6th graders, outgoing 8th graders?
We typically do it here by the month in children's ministry, and we're a little flexible in the
Okay.
difference between the month and the unified graduation.
Okay.
So there is like a standard graduation date that occurs for
Oh, okay.
grade school through high school
But
in the Chico
it's at
area.
the beginning still, right? At the
But yeah,
beginning
church
of summer,
typically
not-
does it at the month split. So as soon as you
Okay.
go from May to June, we call you
Yeah.
graduated.
Okay, that's what I was
We can't always
figuring.
plan our events that way in high school because we
Right.
actually do graduations
Yeah.
as a separate event. And
Yeah.
so we don't want to do it during the last week of school
Right.
because like that would be nuts for the kids and the families.
Yeah.
So we typically always wait till right after. So in grade school downstairs, everyone bumps on the last service in May is their last service in their old grade, and their first service in June is their first service in their new
Okay.
grade. That's like standard
Yeah.
for elementary.
Yeah.
We typically wait for whatever our graduation barbecue is
Okay.
in a given year.
So,
for
after
this year,
the 4th,
yeah,
the next
after
Sunday will be
the very next Sunday will
Okay.
be, and it's a Saturday, so it'll be June
right.
6th
Right.
or 5th. That's
Okay.
how math works. Yeah.
So Caleb's like kind of in a weird situation because we started
Yes.
like he started in the kindergarten class here at 5.
Mhm.
I didn't technically start him like teaching him until he was 6. So does he have to stay up here for 4 years? Because I
Good
think
question.
he might quit.
Yeah. I think that's like the same conversation with every family. At some point, you may find with one of your kids that the grade that they're in is not really the maturity that they're in. It's not the grade that they are.
Yeah, and like because when he started now, all of like his friends, like the kids that he went with.
They're basically in high school now.
So like Caleb,
Yeah.
Lang, and I don't know.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
So how does that work?
I think you guys are allowed to say he is better suited to something than where he is, and that's okay.
Okay.
I think that's fine. So if you guys want to bump him up and say he's graduating this year, that's fine. I think you should just have that conversation openly with Jared.
Yeah.
Talk about it with him so he's not like caught off guard or asking questions like, wait, I thought,
Yeah.
because it'll be on form somewhere. He'll see it at some point. Like, wait, wasn't he?
Well, I think on forms here it says he's in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
then
then it's not
that's
even.
what
Because
it
it's
is.
age, yeah.
It's kind of a
Here
non-issue.
it says he's
Yeah.
in 8th grade.
Yeah, it's like totally a non-issue.
It was
Then.
an issue with Danielle last year when we wanted to because she was on as being in 8th grade this year, and we wanted to bump her up early, but then it was like, no,
I
I
did
can't do
that,
that,
but
we
I
gotta keep
just
her down. But if
stayed.
he's on as 8th,
Like here he's
It would
8th
be a
grade, but
problem.
like in
Yeah.
school
Right.
he's 7th.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
yeah.
Okay.
Not even an issue then. So then, yeah, you should go to high school, kids. So yeah, there's your year at a glance. I'll print out these for you so you can take those home. Liberate, we had this conversation last time too, but these parent meetings are really low attendance, so I wanted to just mention it briefly. At some point, Liberate may just evaporate, and we may not have a Friday night anymore. And that's based on several things. One of them is we've been trying to be matchy-matchy with the high school group so that there's an ease for families with kids in both,
Both, yeah.
which is something I'm happy to do just as a service to those families. But on the other hand, too, this age group to do a 4-hour thing every week has been really draining.
Yeah.
It's more than we've ever asked of our leaders. It's more than I've ever asked of myself.
Yeah.
And because it's out of time with like a Wednesday night service, it's not just the length, it's I don't even get to bring Emily along to these things because they run so late we can just never really bring the kids.
Yeah.
And it basically just takes out the biggest toll it could. We would do this several times a year, usually, for different events. Different events would run like this throughout the year, but it would be a special thing. You know, we do it once a month,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we take a big old break, and we wouldn't touch anything like that for a month.
Yeah.
And we would be sure to never stick 2 in a month because we knew it would burn people out, and we've been doing it just kind of nonstop.
How to be exhausting.
It's a lot. So as soon as we can, I want to move back to a Wednesday night. I want to move back to shorter, and ideally it comes with all the other age groups downstairs. And then we can bring on Emily again. We can have leaders with little kids who aren't trying to figure out how to get a babysitter
Yeah.
weekly or how to, you know, one parent here and one parent there. And Lizini's, you guys have been amazing because they've been dealing with that. They've been serving week after week.
Yeah.
And they have
Yeah.
littles.
Littles, yeah.
So it's like, this is a lot. And it can't keep going.
Logan and I both were wanting to offer up if you guys need extra people.
Okay.
He is a senior, kind of technically.
Kind of technically, I like that.
And
It's a homeschooling term.
it's a homeschooling thing. You know how it is. Come
Yeah,
on.
he's mostly a senior. Yeah.
Right. But also, I was going to say if you need an additional female person for Wednesday nights, I wouldn't be able to do Sundays because I teach pre-K.
Gotcha.
But I could help out with Wednesdays, special events,
That would be
camp,
amazing.
any of that if you
Oh,
can
we'd
utilize
love
it.
to have you back. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And so you're saying Logan too?
Logan as well, yes.
Oh,
He's
bless my heart.
been waiting. He's been waiting until he's old enough, until he's
Yeah,
a senior,
yeah,
to
yeah,
where he
yeah.
can do it. But
Oh.
he just turned 17.
Oh, I
and
love it.
so,
I
Yeah.
love it. Is Jeremiah here? He's gone now.
Yeah,
He's gonna love that.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's better than any slide I've got. And so yeah, parents who are watching late, we love chaperones. If you guys can't commit to being a leader every week, we love chaperones, but we love leaders too. If you feel like you want to spread your wisdom and knowledge of growing up to the kids who aren't even in your family, please volunteer. And so yeah, you're already through the whole paperwork process, so that's cool. And then yeah,
And Logan's been through the process too.
I was gonna say because he's been
cleared-
serving with little
He's
guys.
been serving in pre-K.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
So you're shooting for like a month in Liberate and then go back to weekly Wednesdays.
Basically,
Yeah.
and then Liberate will kind of revert to what it was.
Right.
What it was an event named each time for what was special about it.
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah.
You do crazy hair nights and do all these things that weren't specifically just a weekly Bible study on steroids.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it's become. It's like, how
Yeah.
much can we cram into 4 hours so we're never sitting still bored
Right.
and also have a Bible study? So theoretically, Wednesdays are just better on several grounds. You get the whole family in the building. If there's ever some disciplinary problem that needs to leap and go sit in the hall and be with another pastor, there's a whole slew of pastors in the building.
Yeah.
If someone gets injured, the parents are in the building. Like everything is just better in that whole church together,
And
in my mind. And shorter's got its own benefits. I don't run at a deficit for several days after the weekend. That'd be cool. Saturdays are weird right now because I'm like trying to not be dead and also get ready for
get ready
Sunday.
for Sunday.
It's really weird. So yeah, Nerf Night Sundays are especially weird.
Oh my goodness.
Did anybody count how many times I just stopped and prayed in the middle of teaching today?
I think that was a wise choice.
Yeah. What are the alternative?
Oh, I wanted to throw humans.
Remember when I used to do that when you guys were little?
Oh well.
Because see that
Sometimes
long.
the kids will like, Mom,
It's
what
been
are
8
you
months. I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's happening. Finally,
Like,
he's
they knew
broken.
I was serious,
It's
and
been
I just
broken.
like stopped talking and I'm like, Lord Jesus.
Slowly.
And I just breathe and they're just like, oh.
Yeah, you okay? And then, like,
What did we broke
she does
mom.
that. She doesn't do that as much anymore.
When
but
they
she
were all
used
little.
to, and we were just like, what did we do? We
For
need to
them in
calm
6
down.
years. And so just, there were
Yeah.
days.
Anyways, so that'll change at some point. But be praying, because not only do we need people to commit to Wednesdays up here, but we need people to commit to Wednesdays downstairs so that we can have all that. So we can have the whole body in the building all at once.
It'd be great to
And
have that again.
it'd be really cool. I think just, us in high school and middle school, we are blessed, but we're also spoiled in that most of our leaders end up being on the younger end of the spectrum. And we end up with people who are able to just show up and kind of wrap their lives around little parts of their life. And that's really cool. Not everyone in children's ministry is able to do that, and so they typically have to find completely different people for every little thing. And they also just have a lot more kids.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a whole nother service off the ground. It's been hard to just keep Sunday going. Honestly, with only one service, you don't have that runaway growth. And so it's been really taxing on them to find servants who will stick around and keep coming back for one service. Harder than I think it ever was to keep it full when we had 3 services for kids.
Oh, wow.
So that's the reason we got to 1 and then we didn't grow to 2 all of a sudden, is because
Maybe having
we
hard
didn't
time
grow. We
finding-
kind of have shrunk even a little since we started doing kids ministry,
Yeah.
because you can't grab onto those people. Most of people in your situation, like I think your youngest is in 4th grade now?
I know, she's in 5th, moving up
5th
to
grade.
6th.
Oh my gosh.
She's gonna be up
I
here.
missed a year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the families who would serve right now, or let's say like who fit the mold of who was serving 3 years ago in kids ministry, they had little kids. And so they would come and serve at a children's ministry position, knowing they could come back to another service that had children's ministry
Yeah.
and go to church. And if you only have one of those, you lost that whole category of people.
Right.
That whole category is out.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And so, yeah, we backed ourselves into a bit of a corner. And until we get over that hurdle of 2 services, I don't know if it gets easier. So, be praying. We need more people and more committed people. I know there's been, especially during this last wave of Corona, there's been weeks where it was like 3 weeks in a row where most of the teachers are subs.
Yeah.
And it's not your regular teacher every week.
Yeah.
And they've had to call in people who are like, once in a while I can do it once in a while, and not getting those same people every week. So it's been hard. It's been hard. And then here you guys are also multi-talented. I can have any 2 of you, and we can pull this off. That's not at all what children's ministry looks like. It's not even close. So yeah. I know for one thing, we don't want to do a Nerf net again with only 3 of us.
Yeah.
It worked. It wasn't like the end of the world. No one died.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, right?
But yeah, I haven't had a leader say that to my face before, and to have Jeremiah say it is a lot. That means a lot. He said, "Let's never have a Nerf night with only 3 of us again." I was like, okay. That means something. Because Jeremiah is willing to do a lot, and Jeremiah has boundless energy right up until he doesn't. And if he thinks it's too slim, then it's too slim. So, anyways, look at those dates. Start calendaring those dates, because we'll need more numbers next time. What's up next? Topic nights. Okay, so topic nights we do twice a year now, and we usually ask the kids, "What do you want to know about?" And we usually get some really good responses, some really interesting responses. This time was even more interesting than good.
What's so funny over there, Danielle?
Yeah, Danielle.
Danielle, would you like to?
I didn't do anything weird. Okay, I was sitting next to Charlie and Moses, and they put Hitler in with where you could type in which one you wanted it to be.
And not
They
just once or twice.
Yeah, they did like 6 times each, 6 or 7 times each, and then they picked like everything like interesting on the list.
Yeah. Interesting. Good word.
So
Good
you
word
should,
choice.
you should do what they're asking for and give them a nice
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
that's
the-
what I was
the
telling
thing-
him.
homeschool Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
is, he was like, just
I'm like
that I'll
I'm
take
this
it
close. I'm this close
What
to
is
like
that
saying
place
I'm gonna
with
do
the
an
games
invite
with
only
stupid
night
prizes?
Yeah.
where I only invite people who like to abuse my polling system.
See? Make them sit through it, give them worksheets to fill out.
You even like warned them. You were like, I'm gonna actually do it. Like, I'm taking it seriously. But they
Well,
didn't
so this
stop.
is the funny thing. I caught up with the ones that were here today in that group of friends, and sadly Charlie and Moses were not here today, so I didn't get to catch up with them. But I got to catch up with them and ask them what they know about Hitler. Surprisingly little.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not like I want to give Hitler his own topic night, but
Public school though.
to a certain degree, I think we need to give Hitler his own topic
The thing
night.
is, at
Yeah.
first, Charlie seemed like 100% serious about wanting to learn about Hitler.
Which,
And then I was like,
which almost makes me think he knows something about Hitler.
yeah.
Or else, where is
Well,
this
he
coming
said
from?
Right.
he was like telling me that like about how his family doesn't like the Germans or something. I don't
Which,
like
well, okay, so some of his family actually has Jewish
yeah,
roots.
like
so
yeah,
it
I know that.
makes sense.
I did
Yeah.
hear him say that one night.
But it was
to
funny.
Caleb.
I was just like,
I'm Jewish, or my family is Jewish.
Well, he's adopted, so
and
Yeah.
to him it's a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
Like, does that make sense? Like, if you were one ethnicity adopted into a family with another ethnicity, it would be a bit of a running joke for you to say, I'm such and such.
Yeah.
But the point is, if someone really doesn't know anything about Hitler, I think it's worthwhile for them to learn. But also in that friend group, you got to know.
Yeah.
In a lot of our kids' lives, the internet is a huge thing. And right now, just the microcosm of this month, this year. Okay, not just the internet in general. This month, this year, Hitler wearing pink clothes with the male symbol on his hat has been popping up in memes far more than
Yeah.
usual. He's from a certain show that was doing a sketch about Hitler. And no one who's posting this, who's 13, knows what show
Right.
it's from,
Knows.
knows why that's a joke
What
about
the
Hitler.
significance?
No one understands the layers of significance. They just
Yeah.
know this is popping up left and right in every meme right now. And so the name Hitler is out there in force. It's part of the zeitgeist of February 2022. All that aside, there's a lot of neat things you can learn from that period in history.
Yeah.
Like, bad things don't start all at once and rapidly. Bad things start out really small and really slow, and they build.
Yeah.
And that is
Really
so applicable
seemingly innocuous.
to a middle schooler.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
applicable. So there's so much we could glean from this, and I will at the very least, I'm going to have conversations with some of those boys. I've already had some of those conversations just today, because there's so much that went on in those little fill in the blanks that I'm going, okay, what is going on inside your head? What are you going through? What is happening in your friend circles that are causing this to be like what triggers giggles and laughter? And I wanna walk through it with them, and I wanna have those conversations, and depending on what I learn from those conversations, I might need to have like sit downs with their parents and like have longer conversations. But
Yeah.
so far, I think it is just the simple teenage humor run amok,
Yeah.
where like you don't understand which direction you're running in, you just know that your friends are laughing, and that's enough.
Yeah.
And you don't consider the direction you're going in.
Yep.
So, anyways, the good part of topic night is that we have space and time to talk about these things. I don't want to present an atmosphere though where we bring up something serious like World War II and what we can learn from it, or bring up something serious like LGBT, or what was another one that got spammed in there? Just sex, porn.
Yeah.
I don't want those to be brought up in an environment where we could easily expect laughter, giggles, and jokes, and to just make more light of it. I don't want to present them with something where that is the opportunity we're giving them.
Yeah.
The whole point of topic night is to look at things from a godly perspective. And so if their mind is already treating these things as, fodder for gutter humor, it's not something I want to open the whole group to. I don't want to do that. And at the same time, I also don't want to be like, I don't want to have that gun to my head of like, you can't talk about these topics anymore because if you do, the boys are going to make jokes. Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
I don't want to give into that kind of coercion either. So there's some balance we got to find in that, and I don't know yet. This is all fresh in my head. It just happened Friday, this last thing, but it's not like we haven't had boys making crass jokes before.
Have you ever considered maybe like during Liberate and topic nights breaking us into groups?
Oh yeah.
And then being like, all right, like I know this leader would do well with these personality types, these personality types, and these personality types, and then
We typically have done that surrounding any conversation about the two that we always do. The two we always do is sex and puberty. Those ones we've always broken up on.
Yeah.
We wanted to create an installation for, like, we don't expect rude jokes, but
Right.
like an installation for that to have occurred
right,
and it be handled in the best way possible.
right,
And then we also want there to be questions where people aren't afraid to ask the question that they would normally be afraid to ask.
Right.
But yeah, there is definitely not just the insulation or the defensive. There's definitely like the actual what good can we find by
Right.
doing it this way. And I think that's probably the way we'll go. If we do tackle their spamming of things by actually doing those things,
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think we should, because I don't want the experience of one or the need of one to suddenly like dictate what happens to the other.
Right.
Like if they have different needs. So and again too, I've been asked not to do topic nights on Wednesdays. So if we return to Wednesdays being our normal weekly routine, we're still going to end up doing topic nights in this out of band sort of way. And so if we want to do breakouts into groups, we need to make sure leaders wise
Right.
we're present and accounted for,
Yeah.
that we're actually going to all be here on those nights, so that the split up isn't like one person with 10 kids over here and one person with 10 kids over there. Like that's not going to lend itself to a cohesive and forward moving atmosphere either. And so yeah, we need to look forward on our calendars as leaders and be like, okay, which night can we all commit to?
Yeah.
That's the night we're doing the really heavy stuff. That's the night where we're really going to pull stuff apart and split into groups and pick over that slowly. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just make it a little bit lighter. We'll do something lighter. Amongst the other ones, there's definitely kids still asking about classics. One kid was asking about caveman and creation. That's like what started this whole thing. It's a little near and dear to my heart that people not just believe in the spirituality of the Bible, but actually like the factuality of the Bible. That's not what everyone asked for this year. Like that was like one kid. What seemed to have been the trend beyond the spam, like the first chunk of good answers and the few good ones scattered in the spam, seemed to be things like words, depression, culture, body image, just like things to do with either the internal and the personal, and then the way the world is and how do we approach that. Like if I had to lump them kind of into generalities, how do I see myself? How do I deal with myself? How do I coexist with my own flaws and whatever I'm dealing with? And then how do I coexist with everything that's out there? How do I not have fear from war? How do I not have, like a fear and an apprehension against culture? And how do we not fall to culture? And I think those two things are really critical, and so those might be 2 nights on the list. And so I don't have topics broken into nights yet. It's just topic 1, 2, and 3, but we just have dates. It's just Fridays in March. And so I think at least 2 of them need to be that. They need to be that outward look and that inward look, and we'll try and address as many pieces in there as we can, and maybe 1 or 2 of those will actually turn into separate into groups. Maybe because we have 4 hours and we don't typically have 4 hours. Typically it's like a Wednesday night time span. Even when we did do topic nights, it was like an hour and a half, maybe 2. Maybe we can do both. Maybe we tackle some of the topic in a big giant group, and then we split into groups and we'll do the pieces of those that are more sensitive, the pieces of those that are more personal, and the leaders and the kids can connect a little closer. I think especially on that introspective night, it'd be really good to get some space and some quiet and like have more heart to heart. And then I think the other topic is good too, because I know that right now we live in Chico in a very strange little microcosm of people who are very politically one way, living right alongside people who are very politically the other way. We're not as polarized as many other cities. We have sort of this dual personality in Chico. And the kids' jokes about political things, about ideologies, tend to raise the ire of other kids around them. There are kids here who will mock the sitting president, the other person will stand up for him, no matter which sitting president it is. And somehow, I think as Christians we need to find the way above that, the way of Christ, where it's like, yeah, just pay your taxes. But really, let's talk about God. And I think in dealing with the world and dealing with culture, that's kind of the tact I always choose. And some things are more sticky and harder to put down. Some things are more difficult to stop talking about. And sometimes you have to harp on those things. You have to study those things. You have to discuss them deeper. But more often than not, you can sum up the whole culture war with, oh, right, but this isn't our planet. Like, this isn't where we're from. This isn't where we're going. And it needs to be all about Christ at all times. And everything else is either poop or icing. You're either putting icing onto the cake, but it's not the cake, or you're putting poop onto the cake. And also, why are you putting poop on a cake? Like, there's pieces of culture that are sweet and they're nice to have, but they're not the thing. And there are pieces of culture that are just awful garbage, and they're also not the thing. And so, like, you can complain about the awful garbage, but you should be focusing on the real thing. And you can focus on the icing, but you shouldn't. You should be focusing on the real thing. And so picking out what you love and what you hate, it doesn't move you towards Christ. It doesn't move you towards people. It tends to just divide you from both. And so I think culture war-wise, we need to be clear about that, because oftentimes it's a really us-them mindset no matter where you are. No matter what you are, no matter who you come from, no matter where you come from, it's always us versus them. And the Bible says it's us and the people who are dying. That's basically it. And so it really doesn't matter what the other is if you can say they all have this one thing in common. They're dying without Christ. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And it doesn't matter if you're, like you were talking about today, the guy who's trapped in prison, and he gets 2 more days to live, and he knows he gets 2 more days to live. What does he do with those 2 days? Does he bemoan his existence? Does he whine? Does he cry? Or does he just use them the best way he can? Like, at that point, is it really important who the wrong person is that's imprisoning him?
Right.
Is that really what's important? He figured it out, apparently. Like, no. That is not what is important. So I think that would be an important topic to have that whole discussion around. And I don't know about 3 and 4. I want to do something with what came up out of the spam. And then, yeah, I always want to have some kind of talk with my kids, especially those who are moving on to high school. I want to grab one of those 8th graders in March right before they leave, and I want to talk about something they're going to be struggling with in high school that I know they're going to be struggling with in high school. So something like dating, something like how to have healthy friendships and not get like dragged down into the mire that, you know, people in high school struggle with. Something that prepares them for that plunge into even more worldly stuff. And I want to show them God's way. I always want to show them the plan that God has for their lives.
God's way through high school.
God's way through high school. Oh my gosh, that would be an amazing movie. Can you imagine the classic high school drama, but it's Jesus? Oh, that'd be amazing. Why has no one made this?
This is blasphemy.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
right.
there is that. But like just
That whole thing.
the actual Jesus, but in high school.
Yeah.
Oh man, they should have made that.
Well, because by that age they were grown-ups. They were adults.
That's
they were all
true,
getting
that's
married and having
true.
kids. So
Yeah.
The premise is flawed. I admit. Yeah, that would be really great. I would love to see that.
that was
Anyways.
the whole if Jesus had zits too idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zits are not a sin.
You mean blemishes on my face don't make me an abomination?
Mom! So yeah, parents who are here, parents who are not here, if you'd like to help with the food, let us know. In the sign-up form for kids, just to let us know you're coming. There is also a place for parents to sign up to help out with food. These are our typical foods the kids have not said they don't like,
Complain about.
and they've said they do like, and they've asked for back. If you have something a bit off menu that you know your kids like, I will take the ad, and I'm just looking for volunteers to show up with food. Typically what ends up happening on a Friday is I'm trying to get everything besides the food ready, and we don't typically do food at all. And so then, you know, to get all that ready and then do food has always been too hard.
So then Emily does it.
Yes. And so me asking
It's
for parents
incentive.
to do it is me basically just saying, please bless my wife.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, thank you.
It wasn't just you.
Anyway, so yeah, if anyone wants to, that's great. You can just go somewhere and buy food and just show up with food from somewhere. You can make food. Either way, I'm totally happy. The kids generally don't care if it's box mac or French recipe handmade mac. Like, this is your opportunity to feed 25 people, and they'll all just be glad you showed up with food. And they really won't care what's in there.
Do we do bacon on top?
Oh yeah, well when we did this the first time, it was called Mac and Chat.
But did we do bacon on top? That's
We did bacon, I think, every week.
Okay.
We did 4 weeks of mac
I
and
wasn't
cheese.
there for that.
4 weeks of mac and cheese.
Right.
No one was tired of mac and cheese after 4 weeks of mac and cheese. this is who we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And we brought all the toppings.
I
And
wasn't there
it
for
was
that,
just
so
it was
I-
bacon and the one week it was my job to bring mac. I brought all the toppings. I brought crab, I brought smoked salmon. We just had everything.
Man.
That was the best mac
I
ever.
should not have missed that.
It was so good. And we didn't even make fancy mac, it was just fancy toppings.
Yeah.
And that made the night. Fried onions. Oh, so good.
Oh, why did I miss that?
Yeah, mac and chat was the bomb. I like mac and chat. But yeah, these are great nights. When you open it up to the kids and you give them space to talk, you get to learn some really cool things. We had a whole night about how to approach LGBT, ideology, people, like all these different layers of it. And as we're going through it, and we're like partway through, and I think it's sinking in. I think they're getting it. One of the kids comes out to the whole group. And then runs away to the restroom to use the restroom. They were like raising their hand waiting for the longest time. And when they finally got to say their piece, they just ran off to the bathroom. I thought like maybe they were embarrassed, like they ran away. Turns out no, they really just have been holding their piece and they can say that thing. While they're gone, I have to like yell at the group because they immediately turned into this mob trying to demonize the person. I was like, are you kidding me?
Did you hear anything I just said?
We've been like at this for an hour about how to reach people and how God loves them and no sin separates you like so much that you can't be brought back in and like none of you are perfect and what the heck?
Well,
I was so mad. And like I had, all of 3 minutes to try and like
Yeah.
they're about to walk back in the room. Can you please like
shut up.
just
Right.
like if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. I don't have time to fix this right now. Like we have 3 minutes, people. And then yeah, we basically got to the point in those 3 minutes where I was like, if you can't say something loving to them, stop and pray and shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Because you have a opportunity here, unparalleled. They've been coming to church for months. They want to know more about the Lord. They're looking for Him. And you would like to tell them off.
When was this?
This was a few years back.
Okay. I didn't know
And the family has been through so much. I haven't stayed super close because they drifted away from church. Unrelated, I hope. Because it didn't go poorly after that. It was really close. But the family is close with another family here, and so Emily ended up going to like a Bible study, and they were there at Bible study. The parents were, and it's a broken family. It's like we don't know the other half very well. We only know the half that comes here. It's like we've kept tabs slightly, and it hasn't been going that great. And just the fact that we had this opportunity and the kids really weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
This is why I do topic nights. I want to see the chinks in the armor, and I want to address it before that situation rises up at school when there's no parental oversight. There's no chance for a pastor to step in and be like, shh, stop talking. Just stop.
And regardless of how many people put that in as a topic on Friday, you've been getting questions about that like
Every
week.
week.
By
So the
multiple
spam
people.
aside, I have had in the last
Like
3
legitimate
months,
questions.
3 people come out to me privately and say, I don't know how to talk to my parents about this. 3 times in 3 months. So like, this is, like everything to do with LGBT and homosexuality is big in people's lives right now. Not just in their minds, it's in their
Well,
lives.
they're being bombarded with it everywhere they turn.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
yeah.
And some of it has come from like fights that actually broke up in the group about it. And then
Yes,
for one time,
at least one of the instances
One time, yeah.
was like someone who really was treating it kind of like a joke, but the joke was basically what I just described, except it was private, where like they were just blasting someone with Bible verses about like, it's an abomination to be gay. And it's like, is that literally all you're saying to them about this? You have nothing else to say to them except God uses an abomination?
There's other things he uses an abomination too.
So I started listing for that individual the other abominations. Like, do you find
you done
yourself
any of
anywhere else
these?
on this list?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should shut up now.
Yeah, it's funny the reaction you get when you list out the rest of the list.
But it was crushing because like these weren't mortal enemies where like someone was lobbing bombs because they hate them. These were like friends, and this was the best they could come up with to like correct their friend.
I just didn't know what else to do.
Maybe ask for help when you're running out of ideas. Maybe do that next time.
Yeah.
But Yeah,
they
was
did.
just one
They
instance.
came to me and he's.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then I brought it to you.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah.
They did sort of. It was it was formed as an accusation, but like really it was a question, I think.
Well, and then with the other individuals, it really was from like a place of brokenness, because at least in one, they were really able to articulate it, that they were living in a household where it had been made incredibly clear, these people don't go to heaven. And like that was basically all that was said. After that, the issue was closed. And the parents didn't realize that their kid was dealing with this when they said it. And I tried to express to them, I wouldn't take that tack myself. I don't think that's a complete approach to this whole issue. But I don't think your parents would have said that and dropped it if they'd known. I know your parents just well enough to think that if they'd known you were dealing with this, they would not have said, oh yeah, and they don't go to hell, we're done. I think they might have said a little bit more than that. And I encourage them, like, at some point, you know, when you feel secure in the love of God and what you need to do going forward, you really need to talk to your parents. Because I don't know what they're going to say. Can't predict it. But you can't live a lie. And you're going to need help dealing with this. Your parents are your best resource. That's my hope. So I've been praying for them since, that their parents would be their best resource. They would have the courage. And they haven't been back. And so I just keep praying. And at some point, if I don't see them back, because they weren't frequent attenders before. It's not like they've broken pattern all of a sudden. But like, if I don't see them back soon, I'm just going to reach out to the parents. Because if nothing else, I'd like to see them back. But also, I don't know. Could have gone really bad. And if they don't reach out to the church, I don't know who they're reaching out to. It could just keep getting worse.
Well, we just live in this culture of like, oh, you feel that way? Great, like, let me coddle you. You do whatever makes you feel good or whatever feels right in the moment. That's
Well,
like
and
what
essentially, we had in that situation I was talking about before, the kid who came out in the group to everyone. In that situation, broken family, the court system was going through custody with them, and that was actually what the court was doing for the child. Not just on LGBT issues, but literally whatever you feel is what I'll make your parents do. Like, whatever you say goes. Your parents have no say in anything.
I feel it's one of the biggest lies right now in society.
What good is that going to produce? That you say, all right, child, you are now in charge of your entire family.
It's not why children have parents, is because they're not ready to make those big decisions on their
It's
own.
almost like psychologists and doctors have been trying to tell everyone this for years and years and years. It's like that. So, anyways, I want to have these conversations. I want to open it up. I want them to ask their questions. Some of them have just been hurting, and they're asking anyways.
Yeah.
So, I think it's worth having the conversation. And honestly, I think as Christians, we stand to fall into the extremes more often than we try to. Far more often than we try to. Of either all acceptance, all love, sin doesn't matter, forget sin, whatever. Or, you know, you sin, you're dead to me. Like, basically, whatever sin you're dealing with, that's who you are. And it's like, that's the same lie that, like, what you do is who you are.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
I feel like one of you should notice the other one's saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important conversation to have, because especially in a family where I talk a lot. I don't want to ever talk so much and never listen to see what my kids heard me say. That, you know, I end up in a situation where someone at church has to call me and say, your daughter's repeating this interesting thing. When you work in children's ministry, you get a really weird window into family life. It's the things that stuck in kids' heads. It's not necessarily what their parents believe. And you have to try and remember that. Kids repeat what gets stuck in their head, not what their parents believe. But the kids will grow up thinking that's what their parents believe. And that's a weird thing. People in children's ministry, either you learn it or, you know, eventually you learn it, but like, kids will repeat the dumbest things, and the source was their parents. That's not what their parents thought in total. You know, that's not everything their parents think on that issue, but it's the thing that's stuck. And if a kid doesn't get shown there's more to it, they will go on to think this is it. This is the whole issue. This is everything there is to know. And yeah, you can end up with a really like polarized mindset off of that, and it came from your parents. So how could it be wrong? It's like, well, you didn't listen to the whole issue.
Yeah.
So okay, sorry, that's too much on topic nights. My goodness. There's another Nerf night coming up on May 20th. We have more free Nerf guns to give away, and that'll be fun. Just breezing on over to summer camp. July 18th through 23rd. So we're bumping it a little later than usual, like I said, to dodge family camp. So it also has gone up in price this year, I am sorry to say.
Inflation.
Inflation gets us all in the end.
Can I go this year, please?
Forget about it.
Like, you said like I would be Caleb's age, and he wasn't even like I was so I wouldn't even go until
Last year,
yeah,
How old was your last time?
oh, yeah, when he went, how old was he?
12.
No, when he just turned 15.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Not 12 or 13.
How'd it go?
Wait, how old was she?
So one of the best things we can do to make
I'm
camp
confused here.
the best for the most kids is to get enough leaders going. We could do 2 cabins of girls, 2 cabins of boys. I would love to get a younger cabin of girls going and an older cabin of girls going. I would love that. That would be amazing. Basically what you need is 4 girl leaders and 4 guy leaders.
Makes
and
a
you can make
huge
this happen.
difference.
Huge difference when you can split those groups up. The conversations the older girls have when they are alone they're just amazing.
So much
Amazing conversations. But they are not the same conversation that the younger girls are having. It's not the same
Well, there's
conversation.
such a wide range of growth in these junior high years. You've
It's
got
it's
your incoming
expansive.
6th graders and you've got
Especially
your
for
8th
like
graders.
just the gap.
Back when it was 7th, 8th only, it
Yeah.
wasn't as stark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
as
But now when
hard
you
to
get those
compare.
little 6th graders going in there,
it's huge.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same with the boys.
Well, you can count Logan and I in
Okay.
for camp. So
Huzzah! That'd be amazing. Yeah, if we can hit that 4 leader level, that'd be great. I had to turn away kids last year from camp. I had kids who wanted to go, we were past the limit. And until I can get enough leaders for a second cabin, I can't tack it on. But camp has more cabins. They've seen a decrease in registration since COVID. Maybe it'll be up this year. I don't know. But I need to know soon if we can get ourselves 4 leaders of each, 2 cabins of each, or else I won't be able to reserve it, and then we won't get it, and then we can't. So talk to other parents you know and love, and see if they want to jump in. I'll take a parent as a camp leader who doesn't want to stay a leader. I'll take it. And as long as we get like someone who's a hardcore leader in there with that parent who's like, new at it, that's fine. That's fine. Especially if you have a tighter knit group of kids that are all right around the same age. It's actually not as hard to manage. It's a lot easier. So, yeah, I think it'd be great. And I think it would kind of address most of the issues we saw at camp that were not as good this last time. I think most of the issues stemmed from that distance between everyone and just like the breadth of stuff that we leaders were trying to address. But yeah, there's some really good stuff that we do at topic nights that ends up coming up at camp in practice, where it ends up being real life all of a sudden. And it's an important proving ground for all the training we do on the training ground. So yeah, definitely be praying over camp, even if you can't go. Be praying over it, because it is one of the most difference-making times in
Did it not?
in
So
our year.
it didn't burn down.
No.
I thought it hurt from somebody that
No. Oh well, you can drive through around there, and there's a lot of stuff that did.
yeah.
Yeah, but it did
Wow,
not.
that's great.
It was basically untouched. It was definitely in the covered with smoke, you can't breathe
Yeah.
zone.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yeah, everything was ash covered to the max.
this is Mount Lassen.
Yeah, Mount
Okay.
Lassen. Yeah, Lassen Pines.
Oh my gosh.
I have a fire
Memories.
starter at that.
Do you remember doing
Did you do
winter
Awana
camps?
camps there?
Wait.
Did you do Awana camps there?
No, just winter camp and summer camp.
With
So
us?
take the junior high and high schoolers up. I don't know if you were in that year, because we did it for a while and then we stopped. I don't remember why they stopped doing it.
Was it a CMA-led one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. Well, because I know the director of our camp, Elevate, is actually friends with Trevor.
Oh, okay.
So during Trevor's tenure, he might
Yeah.
have gone there for a spell.
Yeah, they might.
I know he was considering it. I thought he never pulled the trigger, so I
Yeah, no,
I was
it was
confused.
back in the day though, back
Oh.
before Ryan was even youth pastor.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's way back. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind then. Interesting. Yeah, that might be through someone else. Okay, and that's it. That's the end of this quarter. I jumped to camp just because I want to do signups this quarter, but camp is until next quarter.
Yeah.
So that's it. If you guys have feedback for us, you can go leave us some feedback, ccchico.com/msf. If you have any questions or comments, now is your chance. But you guys can always contact me direct too.
Junior high camp, same cost for leaders?
No, much cheaper for leaders.
Okay.
I think it's $255
Okay.
for leaders.
What is it for kids?
$415 with an opportunity for $20 off. If you sign up soon. And then yeah, if we have incoming kids, because they generally won't think about camp till they get here, we'll give them the full 20 off late, just because they're brand new.
Yeah.
So if you know an incoming 6th grader that really wants to go, we'll give them the full discount. Okay. Cool beans. Well, thank you for coming, eating
Thanks
supper.
for
Yeah.
having
you.
us.
And yeah, thank you guys for actually showing up. I really appreciate it, Cindy.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked. It's gonna be great. I don't know if you guys knew, Cindy and her husband Mike were me and Emily's youth leaders in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
I was Emily's camp counselor and small group leader, and my husband was Daniel's camp counselor and small group
That's
leader
wild.
during their junior high and part of high school years.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
betraying the whole "you're not old" thing.
I know, right?
Well, they were young leaders
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, we were younger then. There's one. Kira, we need to get going, bud.
She needs to accept that her parents really know her best.
Joshua, come finish your pizza, Bobo.
Krista, what you really need is to accept that your parents know you best.
Yes.
Bobo. Bobo.
That's a hard thing to accept, but it's true.
So you don't live in one of those families where you like see your parents once right around dinner time and then you go to bed? You're not in one of those families. Your parents really know you, like really a lot.
You must have heard this many times.
What?
But this is my first camp ever.
It'll be the first one you don't go to.
The first one you don't go to. The first one you were eligible to go to.
What?
First one you don't go
The
to.
last one I
Should have had
didn't
Danielle
go.
do topic night on Sassy.
Were you eligible last time?
I don't think you were. She was old enough last time.
But I was gonna be so weird
You are
when I graduate.
chronologically old.
I know. That's what happens when you go in 6th grade. It feels like you've been here forever.
Back when we came back from Tennessee, I
Yeah.
went straight.
Yeah.